well,
think
yes.
that I do think that it was a mistake to invade Iran the way that he did. I think it would have been better to.
Hello, Carl.
Quack.
Oh, hello, old chum.
Quack.
How's it going?
Just beginning to start for the podcast today.
Let's see.
I have recovered from my severe dehydration due to alcoholic complications. Never drink an alcoholic beverage that has had its water content evaporated because it was freezing inside of your refrigerator.
Usually alcohol shouldn't have water inside, but yeah.
If it's a mixed malt liquor spirit, it does.
That's a kicker.
I'll spare you the details when they're not pretty. But I recovered in time to go to my child's birthday party. That's what matters. I need to find a better name than Yap-In with Carl for my podcast. It works as a band-aid, but it's not something I want to put on RMTP to then have it broadcasted across the majority of the internet with serious sophistication, but I haven't thought of a better name yet. Consequential problem for people who are not me. As for how I'm doing currently right now, I'm fine. As fine as a content creator can be. That's being nickeled and dimed by his family for money.
You have family. I have to make a quick phone call, so I will be right back.
Cause niggas creeping. Zoom, zoom, boom, boom, boom. My breath hurts to breathe. It hurts to fucking breathe. It hurts to breathe. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Negroes. Okay.
Okay, there we go. So, since it is Yap-In, I think I should probably leave the stage, just for the meantime, and you can just tell me who to bring up on board.
Okay, that's fine. Did you have something in mind
Alrighty.
that you specifically wanted to bring up yourself?
Not in particular. I just wanted to see how you were, just because you were kind of a bit MIA there. Just wanted to make sure you're fine, mainly.
I mean, I've been communicative. I've been around. When people have texted to me, I replied.
That is true. But still, it's nice to check up.
Okay. I appreciate your concern.
No problem.
Oh dear, hey dear. It is Sunday, March 22nd, 2026 at 3:53 p.m. in the evening. My Path of Exile 2 merch shirt has arrived. And I have 80% recovered from what I just described. If you were not here as I described it, too bad I'm not repeating myself. Welcome to the Yap-In, episode number 43? 42? No, it should be 43. I am your eternal caretaker, host, and babysitter, single player Carl. And we are still currently in the middle of the Band for Band campaign, where I have to inundate a near 60 days of compulsory marathon, while members of my audience, including my moderators, inundate and enjoy near 60 days of Path of Exile 1 Raj League. I have not seen FD Signifier's Tyler Perry essay, but if it's anything I expect of the locked one, it's going to be dog shit. And probably have something to do with how allegedly conservatives had something to do with Tyler Perry. I don't fucking know. It's always somebody's fault with fucking FD Signifier anyways. Ow. I come to you today with the reality of exactly what I communicated was going to be the case when we first began to talk on the concept of marathon. For most people who already know, they already know. So this, for them, is going to be a victory lap. But for everybody else who's either too lazy, too busy, or just completely out of the loop and doesn't read a single fucking thing that I write inside of community posts or in the server, because they have yet to actually cash in on their timeshare and become a member of the Negrohood and take their place with their timeshare. Be like them, be not of them, and be more like us by joining the community Discord. Join by clicking on any of the links posted inside of the comment section, description boxes, and or affiliate links above and below. Consider joining the Discord. Consider donating if you are a follower and liker of the content. And if you believe that you'd like to support the work that you are consuming and watching, consider leaving a humble donation on any and all of the places where Carl and Carl-related accessories can be found and sold. Without further ado, let's let you go back. At the beginning of the launch of Marathon, multiple times it was made and stated that this game was going to be bad. The fact of the matter is, it is not just an extraction shooter, but a full loot PvP FPS game. What's the difference, Carl? There are several, but if there's just simple examples between the two on the market that were being compared to each other, because they were being compared to each other by the consumers of both their fucking game, Arc Raiders was made for culture, Marathon, a polished, shiny, shitty turd. Do not ever confuse it as not a shiny, shitty turd. Was made for a hardcore, niche, exclusionary, and evil, mean-spirited audience that cared more about bullying you on proximity chat and harassing you for being easy to click on the heads of than you giving them a good social experience or a good 1-to-1 or 3-on-3 or 2-on-2 duos, which was recently implemented within the last week, gunfight, where you felt like you were doing the best you could and that the best man won because they were just better, rather than the bug-filled, exploit-abusive, gun, grenade, and now even bubble spam, trash environment that the game has become within the last 2 weeks. But to retread the entire timeline from the beginning till the middle of when they said, hold off on your reviews, Cryo Archive is coming, would be retreading what I said on the last few broadcasts. As the intended purpose of the video that this thumbnail, part of this thumbnail that is currently part of this thumbnail today was made for, giving a hint for every single person who's currently watching the video portion of the broadcast. The thumbnail that this particular thumbnail was made for, making it smaller, order transform, reset. The particular thumbnail for the video that this thumbnail was designed for was to give my basic breakdown of my preliminary experience within the first 2 weeks of the game, as well as a part of the update of exactly how much fun we were experiencing inside of the content of the Path of Exile band for band private league that I have set up and paid money to allow people to have the experience of for 60 days. 60 days is the minimum of how far I'm going to upkeep the private league. Past that, it's going to be on request of keeping it longer and also crowdfunding, because it takes money to make a private league, and it also takes money to extend it, as well as to increase the player slots. We're not anywhere near capping the player slots right now, but to extend the league, it does take money to pay for it. The original video that this thumbnail was designed for was to give a similar breakdown the same way that I did, day after day, week after week, with the content updates by the actual major events in a Marathon's development, as well as my timeline of current experience, because not only am I playing in crews when requested with Phantasm, and I guess also Dax, or whomever else would be interested in playing Marathon in trios, but also solo myself, because sometimes there's no way that I can wait for other people to do things, as has always been the case here. But also, the ideal theory of a game that is an extraction shooter is that it should be possible to be played solo. But unfortunately, Marathon is the kind of game that does not encourage people to actually take risks. It is a game that, by its original game loop, as designed by the director of the game, encourages and reinforces a specific kind of knowledge of its core foundation that the actual supposed target audience is extremely and highly resistant to. What does that mean? Well, what it means is that rather than actually introducing themselves to, internalizing themselves to, and getting into what it's supposed to fucking be, what it has devolved into, is exactly what every supply and craft and search and shoot extraction shooter is, and has instead become the pastel canvas upon which Destiny and Destiny 2 players say, this is normal, this is culture, but also it's also dog shit. Because all of the bad things that are a part of the gameplay loop, as I've been informed from people I've had discussions with, as well as experienced Destiny players that have been going through withdrawal inside the side chat are explaining, is Gambit, but worse. While they can be able to explain in their own words, I will explain myself what the gameplay loop actually is. Marathon, when you first begin playing it, once you leave the tutorial, is various forms of theoretical fight clubs. There are, at this time, not including the ranked environment, which also includes Cryo Archive, which is to say, the literal marathon shit itself, which are both weekend only. 4 zones. Perimeter, Perimeter Beginner, as well as Perimeter Duo, Dire Marsh, and Outpost, with a 5th inclusive Cryo Archive Marathon ship. Each of these zones are playable areas that you can infiltrate into. And in the extraction shooter fashion, you are intended to go around the zone and eventually work your way up through each zone, vying for barrier levels of power. For the first 2 weeks of the game, for week 1, Perimeter Beginner was a mode that existed to basically onboard players into the game. Reason being, the maps are big enough that a single notable area, such as the guaranteed tool shed in the north right quadrant of Perimeter, whose name is escaping me, is a zone that can encapsulate an entire team fight, as well as North Relay, South Relay, and other places around it being available for actual gunplay. All of those particular zones inside these maps constitutes the many places that you can actually combat in. However, Perimeter, in all of its various forms, both for duos, beginner mode, which is only available for your first infiltration contracts, while continuing to fill out all of your factions, a necessary requirement, because your power scaling is actually looped to your contracts. All of the game loop requires you to learn this first map, as it is your beginner map. It is the first map you're going to be introduced to, as Dire Marsh and Outpost are going to be level locked for you. You're either going to be too low level, or you're going to be too weak, or just too inexperienced to truly feel comfortable and ready, which is a necessary part of Gear Fear, to prepare you to go into these zones. Then, as you gain the account levels from doing contracts, which you're going to struggle with because the majority of the time you're being gatekept by players who are intentionally, it's not a mistake. Players are intentionally gatekeeping other players from finishing their contracts. Players in Outposts are intentionally making and taking fights around the first liaison contract zone to prevent you from getting out, because they want you to come in with your loot so they can kill you for your loot. Granted, they kill anybody in Outpost. More on that later. But as you go through Perimeter, you will even find shit-ass campers and ratters inside of Perimeter in the beginner zone, actively killing new players for the crime of existing. in which the game's proximity chat only exists to get used to verbally abuse these players. Period. Dire Marsh, being the step up, becomes the zone where you're now expected to expect sniping, because it is the first zone that you can begin to expect people to get the materials necessary to get the MIPS bullets. In the first zone, you're mostly going to encounter light ammunition, heavy ammunition, and batteries. In the secondary zone, you're going to experience and encounter more opportunities to farm heavy bullets, but most specifically, the resources to make MIPS, which is what fuels the shotguns and the sniper rifles. So also we're going to feel the step up and get the step up of weapons, materials, and armors that are going to shield you from more than 2 parts of your health. In other words, gray shields to green shields to blue shields to purple shields to gold shields, etc. Moving into Outpost, this is the close quarter combat parade where you're going to experience the first thing that you're going to learn. Almost every single person, now that they've fully patched the abuse and exploit of the thief and its abuse of its grappling hook to make Troon shine, to try and turn the game into something it isn't. Oh, and they haven't fixed it yet. They've mentioned that they were going to fix it as well as fixing the movement patch. I'm speaking in the case in which it has been changed, because I don't want to play until they have fixed it. Granted, I haven't seen many of them in my encounters, because I've been seeing something else entirely. So I'm speaking as though it's been done, because I'm seeing many people begin to immediately leave off of it, while bitching and whining and crying as they do so. For every single encounter, whether they try to or not, you're going to see people stop abusing certain frames and immediately go to abusing the assassin frame. Because if it isn't Destroyer, and if it isn't Recon, it is Assassin. Why? Because one of the best ways in which to be able to kill somebody is to have the ability to sneak upon them, and then rat them, and then kill them, and take their loot. Because thermals is not something lower level players have access to. It is also a part of a lot of people's ability to create what is called a knife build. And I have seen the promised land of the knife build, and it is in fact cracked. It is possible to have various different types of builds, not just weapons based on guns, but also builds based on knives, and they are highly viable. In that effort, and in that side of Marathon, the map design, certain parts of the sound design, certain parts of lore design and aesthetics, the AAA development of it, including the opening introduction into Cryo Archive when you first beam upon the Marathon, the titular ship of the game's namesake, upon which events happened on, but you don't get to know the context of that because that's a game that's been deconstructed and reconstructed and sold to your ass for $40. All of that meets the standard of what people expect of Bungie. But that is the packaging of the turd. So, if that's the packaging of the turd, Carl, what's the turd? Well, to cover that, we need to go to week 2. Week 2 of the shitty turd has levels to it. But I think the best way to demonstrate what is obviously true is to work our way backwards to the beginning. To do that, I'm going to show you a clip.
Oh my god. Okay, boys, can you stop talking? Yeah, man needs, bro.
Okay.
That's the greatest. Alright, boys. Where is he? It's the new gun, baby.
Hey, it's pretty cool,
It's the
huh?
red gun. Tyler, it's the red gun.
You want it, bro?
For
I got you.
defeating the boss. How else am I supposed to test this out?
What you just witnessed was 3 kitted and geared looted players that came from Cryo Archive, did not go to ranked with their new gold tier loot, after players were able to achieve world first completions inside of Cryo Archive, and immediately going to Perimeter, and absolutely dog-shitting all over those players. Those of you who have been paying attention before I went live know exactly what I'm about to show you next. Nicodamus! 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 Because I said, and I quote, the following. Bring my shit. Give me this. Give me that. Give me this. Give me that on this window. On this window. I said, and quote, the following. In reply to another person who was afraid and aware of what was going to happen next, I wonder if Marathon needs to implement a loadout max value for some of the early maps. As teams get absolutely juiced from Cryo and possibly ranked, I can't imagine newer players who are just trying to do contracts on Perimeter are going to have much fun if they just get farmed by dudes with gold loadouts. What do you guys think? This is the logical step and approach to take with it. Replace level lockout with loadout value lockouts. Keep allowing new players to get in with beginner Perimeter, and then break up the zones into fight clubs with different buy-in values. Because they're gonna farm noobs. And as you saw here, they're farming noobs. But Carl, what's the actual audience's opinion? Oh, well, it's actually very easy to show you the actual audience's opinion. Like, wait real quick, I'll show you exactly what the fuck the real audience had to say. Because the real audience was even more annoyed by this than anybody else had anything to say about it. One second. Wait a second, wait a minute, but it's Postman. Hey, Mr. Postman. On the original post itself, when this person asked this question, gold loadouts won't be playing Perimeter unless it's for ranks, to be honest. The map is already designed for starting or low-income players. You can farm cryo keys from the boss. Yeah, but doing keys and ranked loot might be the better way to go for them. I'm sure some will. Issue is that ranked is weekends only, and the warden spawns whenever. I don't see that stopping people from pub stomping during the week. Well, look who's a dumb bitch who doesn't know anything at all about the human experience. Is this a sneaky attempt at getting Bungie to admit to level matchmaking? Because something that should be very obvious for many people, Destiny players, please speak up to tell me whether or not I'm wrong. People believe that matchmaking is supposed to save people. The noobs are being saved from being touched because they're being saved by matchmaking, skill-based matchmaking, EOMM matchmaking, or aggression-based matchmaking, to stop them from getting touched and handled by better players who would take their money because they're being granted mercy by the skill system. Creation of such designs like these, for those of you that are familiar with a full loot PvP experience, the reason why you create level brackets is because a person who is level 50 on an account, a literal account in Marathon, right now, by its design, a level 50 contract account with every single thing maxed versus a level 10 account that only has Cyber Acme and New Caloric is infinitely weaker than the level 50 account. If the level system is the gatekeeper, and you must be 25 and must risk 5k to go to Marathon, if you don't have the vault wealth to go and to fight, free kit to free kit, these two accounts are not made the same. People who are from OSRS, you already know what the fuck I'm talking about. People who have been in PvP scenarios, in Old School RuneScape, inside of Gilnor, you already know what I'm talking about. PvP accounts that are built differently and are prepared differently and are scaled differently are not anywhere near the level of each other. Because you're gaining better stats, you're gaining more access to loot and more access to resources, you're gaining more opportunities for weapons that you can unlock because you have gotten the schema for them. You have gotten any and everything provided to you by the ability of either being better than your team in the early weeks before Cryo was introduced, so that you were prepared and ready to go in, period. It is a problem, because the haves versus the have-nots are always going to have an advantage. If I have purple shields and you have gray shields and a singular gun, and I have two guns, when my first weapon runs out of ammunition, if I happen to also be a knife build, the gun is just for convenience of tagging you at a distance. I don't need it if I can run your ass down, and my base stats are better to kill you, period. Loot buy-in and loot max out is 100% a thing that's needed. Account power debuff to be around the similar placement. Exactly. But wait, there's more! Season wipes will happen for a reason, and part of what makes these games fun is killing someone that has amazing loot, which is shit loot. That's part of the adrenaline rush, part of the sauce of extraction shooters. Everyone will be on an even playing field when the season ends. But then when the season's not ending, they're going to get farmed by gold loot and said, hey bro, come on bro, how else am I supposed to test my loot bro? I have to shit on the new players bro. Bro, come on bro. How do I know that the gun's good if I don't fight people who can't fight back on an even playing field bro? Much cope like this has occurred. And mind you, the entire reason that people wanted to play these extraction shooters was because it was not confirmed whether or not there would be the part of Tarkov that is the worst part of Tarkov, designed specifically for the purposes of being a way for them to test items inside of their environment. That did not guarantee that it's a justification. Bro, they're gonna wipe the game though, bro. That's why it deserves to have a broken experience, so that the haves versus the have-nots are just gonna push all of the potential incoming players away as we keep losing player base size week after week after week. Bro, it's very important. It's very important, bro. Bro. Listen, bro. Listen, bro. It's very important. It's very important, bro. Bro. Listen. Bro. Listen. Listen, bro. Listen, bro. Bro. Listen. It's very important. It's very important, bro. Bro, it's very important. You have to understand, bro. Bro. You have to listen, bro. Bro. Please, bro. Pre-blow. Don't look at scores, bro. Bro, don't look at don't look. Bro, don't look. Bro, don't look. The reality here is, even before this shit happened, the player base is already scattered. Even if you want to say certain things are not what they are, and more importantly, before the look, he's showing the numbers, quick, go through his content and see if you can find examples of him sucking dick. The argumentative logic behind the attitude of saying this is acceptable and it's okay because part of the adrenaline rush is that you killed multiple people and yet you found somebody's good stuff. The ability to get back home with it's a part of the game. And unfortunately, because of the way that people are doing their job, No, you're not going to get back with it because you're going to get third-partied and get ratted out by someone who's going to wait for you to start an extract to kill you so they can take your shit. Because it's not about them taking on fights against you fairly. It's about the fact that we're talking about survival of the fittest. This game is King of the Hill. In many ways, it is a normal extraction shooter, but it is full loot PvP. Why would I take you head on when I can better off be able to kill you with zero ability to fight back? Before, and earlier in the week, something that I had discussed, I believe, on a broadcast, is you had people making arguments of the following. Projecting this for the people who are watching inside. Argumentation was being made frequently. Excuse the porn people. Argumentation was being made frequently that the ability for a person in order to play the game is that they can just change their play styles on a whim. Having free kits isn't a bad part of the game. It's actually encouraged to have a part of this. It is actually important that people can be able to play the way that they want. Why should you have the ability to tell me that it feels bad to have somebody on your team who's playing a certain way? A point that was brought up because of the fact people were ignoring a basic understanding. A basic understanding. That is, it feels horrible to be a person who's risking your life and you find that in your team that you loaded into randomly because of squat fill, that where you're risking anywhere northward of 5k, that you have somebody on your team who's risking less than 5k or is on a free kit that isn't a 5k free kit, and that from jump you're guaranteed to have to play slowly and to have to play conservatively because you cannot take head-to-head fights because they don't have the bullet capacity, they don't have the damage potential, you don't know if they have the handle power to be able to put the bullets on target, they don't have the shield capacity to tank the damage, they don't have the battery revive that is now in play in the economy because it actually is cheaper to buy several kits of self-revives than it is to buy packs of shield charges. And ultimately, the sheer pressure that will be exerted by multiple teams attacking you all the time. There is no guarantee that you're going to be able to extract with some level of value for yourself. Especially if it's a meager increase of 25 to 3,000 to run. The type of expansional amount of margins that people said it's super easy to do. The 15k runs that they claimed would be super easy to achieve. No, they're not easy to achieve. And, as it had already been happening at this point, as those of you who have been reading the posts would know, there's to be the point where people chose to try and tell me, and others like me, actually, you don't understand what it is we're talking about. You guys don't understand what the game is talking about. And to these people, I told them verbatim, no, you don't understand the point that's being made. Your viewpoint is hypocritical, and it's not good advice to give to the average player, because it's changing based on your whim. When I'm strong, I'm going to punish and I'm going to abuse my opponent. When I'm weak, I'm going to demand that the moderators and that the game creator balance the game in a way that allows me to get away with using a crutch. Free kits are a crutch, because they will never equal the kind of power that a person can bring into a run. Period. They can never equal the potential of being fully kitted out the way that you would like to be. But to get there, you have to survive run after run after run after run of setbacks, ambushes, setups, tricks, traps, and the like to find all the things to get it exactly the way that you want it. And you're doing all of this now, not just for the sake and fun for the love of the game and core loop, but you're doing it towards a purpose. What is that purpose? Well, that purpose, chat, is CryoArchive and ranked. I will read for you, verbatim, from the content creator, from the developer themselves, about what they like and what they thought about the balance of the game. From Ziegler Dev. Quote, the general philosophy behind the upcoming ranked mode, as well as Cryo Archive, is to test you and your crew's skill at the core loop. This to us is about making sure that the game is about maximizing the value of your run. With this spirit, a lot of the rules are built around testing you to think about what you're anteing up, how you're using it to get more than what you brought at, to get more out than what you brought in. Additionally, we also want to make sure that the outcome of PvP interactions and high-value events in this mode can be lucrative against your ante, and provide you with the option to get even more out of the session if you take the risk to do them. In other words, in Ranked, you're going to be rewarded for taking risks, but taking risks means putting yourself in danger of losing something. The further in ranks you advance, the more you risk, and in some ways have to risk in order to advance, and the more that you lose if your ambitions do not pan out. The reason behind this design for Cryo Archive and Ranked is because Cryo Archive is the best pinnacle loot, period. And Ranked is an environment where those teams that have that loot are expected to be trading it between each other. And if somebody's lucky enough, they might be able to shelter and shit on those said players. Now, surprise, surprise, of the players that chose to respond, of the people who chose to communicate, the people in question that chose to communicate demonstrated in this conversation that they were not on the level in which players like myself were with understanding this philosophy. Because when this was asked, when I said to them that you use the kits because they are a crutch to you, you can have fun, do what you want, but you have to be honest about them. Cryo and Ranked won't let you use these kits. Are you a marathoning enough player to make it there? Which was a meme based on an old Nintendo game about bad dudes. The reply that I got was, marathoning enough gamer. Do you hear yourself? Yes, because I'm a comedian and I tell jokes. I do this because I am employed and choose what and when I risk carefully so I don't get discouraged after coming home from class or another 8-hour experience and losing my whole kit 4 games in a row. I like a more moderate experience. And yeah, I'll bring good kits on Cryo. Why not? You can't bring kits on Cryo. Kits are banned on Cryo. You cannot bring a free kit on Cryo. You must bring your own gear. This player did not have any intention on playing this update. And yeah, I'll bring good kits on Cryo. Why not? Good loot and hard enemies. I'm not your gaming ideological opposite. I'm just not as all or nothing as you. This is not about all or nothing. This person is in direct disagreement with the core fundamental game loop of the game. By definition, they did not ever intend on ever actually not using free kits as a crutch. Why is this an important thing that I'm harping on? It's because the free kit is supposed to be the response that most people have inside of extraction shooters. When you don't have loot, and you would like to have the ability to compete against those that have and have not, how the fuck do you have the ability to fight back? Well, as we demonstrated from Arc Raiders, the way in which you are able to manage this is by creating the free kit. The free kit augment gives you basically a free loot run, a free second life. It is also the thing that is responsible for every single time a person gets downed for playing like a ratter and shitter and failing to kill somebody who they had the ability to get the complete drop on, saying, thanks for the free kit, thanks for the free kit, thanks for the free kit. Something that they said actively made the quality of the game worse, because what's the point of killing a person who's clearly running on a free life where they're risking absolutely nothing and you're risking absolutely everything? I might as well run a kit for myself as well, which means it's about minimizing risk and maximizing gain. Well, if you're a person who can be able to kill anybody, part of the experimental game loop is that a person with nothing can be able to take somebody for everything. And at that point, you can be able to do it, man. To which I'd like to say, Ban for ban, fuck nigga. Ban for ban, fuck nigga. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. Man, that's how it's supposed to work. I don't know what kind of game you're playing, single player, Carl, but that's not how it works in our game. No, you stupid fucking bitch. That is not how it works in your game. You want to know how it works in your game on Cryo Archive? I can show you how it works in your game in Cryo Archive, because everybody's seen it now. Carl, why are you getting so upset? Why are you getting so violent? Why are you getting so pressed? Because there's a reason we have a thing called game balance. Game balance exists for a purpose. If you don't make game balance exist for a reason, you have the developer have to say things such as this. Open image. Open image. Quote. Cryo and Ranked are coming, and we're excited to see new players battle it out on Tau City to traverse the big scary moon shape in the sky. We put out several posts about Cryo, poured through the variety of comments and feedbacks we've seen so far, and wanted to take some time to explain the initial decisions we made about Cryo and Ranked with regards to weekend scheduling. So, not only can you only be able to play it on the weekends, here's the reasons behind why they made the decisions they did. We are, of course, always iterating and open to looking into options, but the Ranked Cryo Archive weekend decision is built around 3 points. 1. Preparing. We acknowledge that players will lose a lot of gear on Cryo and Ranked because it is intended to challenge you to your limits. As a result of that, it is more important in Ranked and Cryo to feel like an event that you can schedule towards, grind up gear to do, and that the loop spent doing and grinding gear to spending Cryo and Ranked is reflected in the choice as a weekly cycle. We have some great rewards in Cryo that break the bank when it comes to economy and power gain, and we were to look at it as being open all the time, we'd have to adjust frequently how you can earn rewards so that we don't flood the game with amazing loot all of a sudden. Logistics time. Cryo and Ranked both have entry requirements that require a gear ante that build around the idea of you matching with other players on an equal investment level. This is the entire purpose of a fight club. They both have a high-level requirement to ensure you experience enough of the game to understand the challenges inherent to the game. This inherently makes the amount of people in that queue at any time unpredictable, with both of these experiences needing a consistent flow of players in the queue to make sure matches are full to retain the challenge. To reduce the match times and allow players to find matches quicker, making a scheduled event means more players will show up during the window and feed the queue pool better, which means it's a siphon queue. They are bringing you in on the weekend. It's not a 2-day experience. It's more like a 5-day experience. The window opens on Friday, if not Saturday, and closes on the following Tuesday. So you've got a 3 to 5 day window in which to actually participate in the content. But still, for people who have worked for a living, this is an actual serious problem compared to people like myself who can commit 8 to 16 hours a day, a week, all the time to preparing for an event like this. But I won't because I don't like it. Blah, 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 gear requirement, equal investment level. Also have a high level requirement to ensure you've experienced enough of the game, inherently making the amount of people in the queues unpredictable, blah, 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 blah. To reduce the match timers and allow players to find matches quicker, making a scheduled event means more players show up during the pool in the window, blah, 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 blah. We also acknowledge that there are some likely who cannot participate on the weekend or are excited about the experience and want to no-life it for weeks, and we appreciate that. We'll be looking into what we can do to retain these considerations and potentially accommodate these in the future, meaning they're not changing this anytime soon. Get fucked. Things we can iterate on in the future, staggering Ranked and Cryo queues so that they overlap less, looking at changing the days that we can either do Cryo or Ranked, changing the anti-values of Cryo or Ranked, and looking at other conditions such as the solo experience, the crew fill experience, and iterating on it, because Marathon is an evolving game, and part of evolving is seeing how the initial launch goes and plays out while we're testing and adjusting as we do. This is dev speak for, we want to see what you stupid fucks are gonna do to ruin this experience. Are you ready for it? It might take me a second to go scrolling down my timeline to go find it, but I know I retweeted it when I saw it. Are you ready? Are you ready to see the reason why this chart looks this way, chat? Are you ready to see the reason why this chart looks like a cosine wave? I can promise you, when you start looking into the reasons why they were hitting a 23-player dump on Sunday, as well as a 22-player dump on Saturday as well, and on that Friday, and on that Thursday, all the way to what got to a low peak here, but this was on the patch update, you're gonna laugh. You're gonna be laughing, mate. Mate, you're gonna be laughing. You're gonna be laughing, mate. You're gonna be laughing, mate, when you see it. I promise you're gonna be laughing when you see it. Because if you're not laughing, you're fucking angry or you're crying. I'm gonna go find it. Are you ready? The people who are inside of the server are gonna have an early get an early experience of what it is. But are you ready? Are you ready? I promise you're not gonna predict what it is. I promise you're not gonna be able to predict what it is. I can promise you. I can promise you. You're not gonna be able to understand and experience what the fuck you're about to witness. I can promise you're not gonna be able to experience what you're about to witness. Are you ready, chat? Are you ready? This is what you're gonna experience when you're on cryo.
Alright.
I got it. Yeah.
Go back through. Go back through mid. Go back through mid. Hope. That's good.
And then we get Claymore drone. Dez, bro.
Bro.
Locked in here. They can't get in.
No, they can. I'm nading the stairs.
Up the stairs.
I re-knocked. I'm selfing.
I'm fucking him.
Again.
Just hold that heady.
Yeah, Bob.
I'm smoking.
No. You're selfing again.
I'm smoking. I'm holding.
I died on you. I'm solving again. Push up the
One's
stairs.
dead.
I'm healing.
I'm healing as well. I'm getting Phoenix. Get
Can't
off
get
right now.
theirs.
Yeah, I Phoenix.
Stop,
I can get theirs. Meleeed one.
Fucked him up.
Got one.
Get self.
Got two.
I'm selfing. Yep.
On the right.
I got all of them. I stabbed literally all of them.
Knifing is just retarded. Knifing is just
Let's
retarded.
go. Shit on.
I want that gold. Oh.
Carl, what did I just witness? Grenade spam and self-res spam, also known as Phoenix resing. Remember earlier I said it's cheaper to take self-reses than it is to take actual battery packs. This is what I was talking about. It's very rare to see players using them inside of solo, because what's the point of taking them in solo? If you've gotten down, it's more than likely the fact that the player is already on top of you, especially if you've been down in a scenario where you're being surrounded by bots that are about to suck you off. But in team-based play, having a self-res chain means that even if you do get downed, they have to keep you down and also kill you in the position you're in and guard your body so they have the ability to fuck with you. However, there are things inside of the Marathon ship, in Cryo Archive, that can prevent you from really being able to see your enemies in sight lines, such as the grenade hallway. What you just witnessed was a fight between two teams in the grenade hallway. You allowed players to have the ability to bring in grenades. You allowed them to have the ability to bring in self-res. You allowed them to have the ability to have knife kits, which, again, to their design, they're very good and very cracked. Have the ability to regenerate their life upon dealing damage to enemies with weapons. And apparently there is a effect that makes it so that you cannot be able to properly use your gun. And with the fact that most of the enemies are going to be attacking you in smoke, since most of them are playing Assassin, well, what else can you do but throw AoE damage at them? It's zone of control denial. It's zone of control denial. I don't have to see you to kill you. I got down. Don't worry, I'm resin. Keep throwing grenades. Keep throwing as many grenades as possible. Keep doing it. We can't. They don't have enough grenades for all the self-res. I don't know what to tell you. 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 However, for those that question what I say and what I mean when I say, listen, bro, listen. The knives are cracked. You need to understand that the knives are cracked. If I can find it here. You need to understand that when I say the knives are cracked, the knives are cracked. The knives are in fact busted and broken. I can even find the fucking clip in question that I'm looking for. Taking me a while to scroll through my shit. I should have fucking bookmarked it. Also, while I'm going through here, a couple of breakpoints. Number one, it is entirely possible for a person to be able to game the system so that a person can be able to queue as Rook on Daramarsh, kill as many people as possible, take their loot, figure out if there's an anomaly, take the anomaly for yourself, take the anomaly and get out while killing as many people as possible, and be able to farm that shit so easily that people have put out FAQs about how to do it. And not only is it viable, it is extremely viable, to the point in which a person can be able to consume it as much as possible. And it is able to be done multiple times and be successful of doing it multiple times. To the inclusion of the fact that you can be able to do it as best as possible. Multiple people have already thanked him about the ability to do it, and have asked him to remove his posts so that they can be able to gatekeep this information. And secondly, a problem that has cropped up because of people stream sniping, because, you know, people who want to claim the fame of being in the video game with their personal identity as far as their name handles go, people are getting stream sniped on Twitch, because of course they are. They're getting stream sniped on Twitch by other people who will wipe a member of the party, and then they will screen peek so that they can triangulate where you are on your screen to hunt you down and to kill you, because even if you aren't the one streaming, a person on your team that is streaming has the ability to harass you. And of course, because this is how ball and gun gamers work, the worst case example here is, of course, a sexual aggression. Let's listen.
Oh, I can smell you. Tell you at. I wanted to tell you in person that I jerk off to your Twitter almost on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think these guys stream tonight.
You think?
Just a tad.
10 minutes remain.
Yeah, I don't know why they would admit that. That's not a good look.
Yeah. Actually getting...
That is really bad looks.
Ah, well.
The other messages that you couldn't necessarily hear was a group of 3 players stream sniping the first 2 people, and then sexually aggressing the female with sexually suggestive messages over prox chat. Now, in the same energy that you could say, but bro, just don't use prox chat. Using proximity chat should not mean that you get inundated with this kind of bullshit, as this should be an automatic ban. We've already seen them claim that they're going to automatically and no repentance ban people for more and less. So the fact that people are stream sniping and they're not catching bans for having stream sniped in the game, you can't say that it's a part of the experience, because you have to go outside of the game and get this information. You cannot say that it's acceptable because, bro, sexual harassment on prox chat is fucking wild, and the fact that you're doing it on VOD, on camera, means that I have proof that you're harassing a person through the game. You're harassing them in the game for something that's out of game, and then you're taking the harassment on platform of Marathon off to another platform to then push the issue, or vice versa. You start from their chat room, and because you're stream sniping in the chat room, you then find a way into their session, and then you intentionally hunt them down, if you recognize the names of the people on the team. So streamer mode needs to be implemented at some point so that people can have the ability to just hide their titles and their names, because they don't need to know who is doing what, when, where, and why. But the fact that this is something that has come up frequently, there was a team that actually talked about the fact that they were able to wipe somebody in cryo because they could hear them saying, bro, clip that, it's going to be great for the stream. And so they ambushed them, and then they politely warned them, hey, bro, the reason we were able to kill you is because you were talking too loud inside of Prox chat. I don't know if you knew that it was on and open, but it was on and open. And instead of saying, damn, wow, I can't believe that happened, thanks for the warning, that person banned them from their chat room and then reported them allegedly for string sniping. Now, me, being a person who is a coach by profession and a professional player by trade, when a person tells me that there's something that I did that caused myself a risk, I should be wanting to investigate that to see if it is the case and if it's true. But literally, it is bringing out the worst in people. Literally, the gameplay is bringing out the worst in people. It was already there. These are the fuck niggas that asked for this content, because this is exactly who they are. But it's bringing the worst out of people. I'm trying to find the clip in question that I'm trying to demonstrate to you is the peak and pinnacle of what knife builds look like, but I need to go look deeper because apparently it's a little bit further back than I thought it was. Also, at the same time, while we're here, people are trying to justify it by saying, and I quote,
Hey Carl, I have the clip for you, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to put it in live broadcast chat. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you. Are posting and claiming, what the absolute fuck? Adding Bungie, adding Marathon. Bro, it isn't that deep, honestly. It isn't that deep, and it's literally sexual harassment. Sexual harassment is on a daily basis on multiple occasions. This is an online interaction with a deranged individual. Listen, girls, guys, queers, babies, gaybies, if they're not constantly saying how much they want to live in your skin, it's not real sexual harassment, bro. It's not that bad. Screen cap to Endo Studio saying, didoing. Also, thank you to my moderator for chasing the clip down for me. And it's the exact clip I'm thinking of. For you to see exactly how cooked this is, experience it in its full glory.
In a rat spot. I see him up there. I'm in an insane spot. I'm gonna kill him. I killed one.
Yeah, I'm self-rezzing.
I'm gonna knife this guy.
Blocked out.
I'm dead.
I'm blocked out.
Killed him.
Hacking it right now.
1 HP.
I was fucking them.
What's up, bro? Step in the bubble, pussy. What's up?
Jesus Christ.
More.
Above you. Oh,
I knifed another one.
Dead.
I knifed one. I full killed him. Help me.
I'm APing. I'm just fucking APing everything.
Yeah, hold that shit in corner, low key.
Come on.
Yeah, Metron, pussy, what's up? You want these hands? They're coming for you next, bitch.
I'm reloading.
Got those people, shit, bro.
I'm with it. Nice.
Bro, in a rat spot. I see him up there.
What you saw was in fact correct. That was in fact marathoning. That player right there, and players that are using this tactic as they're describing here in the comment section. Myrmidon ankle breaker chorus, knife fight 4 with stacking melee damage on kills, bionic legs 4+ with parting gift to heal on melee kills, and head implant for stats, is giving them 125 minimum melee, 80 minimum agility, and 75 to 90 heat cap to literally kill the fuck out of people that are trying to get on top of them, to give them the ability to, and that you did in fact see it, watch it back and run it again, put it in full screen if we have to. A player absolutely deep dicking teams, not a team, teams, plural, almost literally by himself with support from his squad with a knife and assuming I assume has to be with the Retaliator LMG with purples, since it was ramping up as he was looking through his thermal sight. He takes the high ground, already on full heat to get to the high ground position, unnoticed.
Insane spot. I'm gonna kill him. I killed one.
Stares the man down, takes one.
Yeah, I'm self-rezzing.
Dashes over with knife.
I'm gonna knife this guy.
Knifes him to the face.
I'm blocked out.
Knifes him again. Yes, you did not have a mistake of your eyes. Look at his fucking health bar.
Yeah, I'm self-rezzing.
I'm gonna knife this guy.
I'm dead. I'm blocked out.
He knifes him. He downs him. He gets back the shield that he just fucking lost and the health with it too.
Yeah, I'm self-rezzing.
I'm gonna knife this guy.
I'm dead. I'm blocked out.
Killed him.
Hacking right now.
1 HP.
I was fucking them.
What's up, bro? Step in the bubble, pussy. What's up? What's up?
Takes down the next one. Gets back his shield again.
Jesus Christ.
More.
Above you.
I knifed another one.
Dead.
I knifed one. I full killed him. Help me.
I'm APing. I'm just fucking APing everything.
Takes on a team from the back. Has more than enough shields to keep him alive, and I guess some of those must have the ability to heal both HP and shield HP at the same time.
Yeah, hold that shield in corner. Low.
On Devastator, mind you.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah, match run, pussy. What's up?
Took out one team. Breaks the disarm.
You want these hands? They're coming for you next, bitch.
I'm reloading.
Regens his entire HP pull back.
I'm with it. Nice.
And drops the next person that was just running from him. 2 teams back to back. 2 teams back to back. Amberly is a great Apex Legends pro player who's known for his extremely good firefights. Good. This is what knife builds can do. So, with the Phoenix Corridor clip put into context, people are not only using their guns, they're also using knife builds that allow them the ability to be able to regenerate by getting on top of your ass, so you don't even have the ability to try and run from them while they're knifing the fuck out of you. And there are builds that do give you a stacking melee damage when you attack them. Many of them are pretty much basic V1 kits that you can find. But a V4 that gives you access to that, and regen, and the ability to tank people out, and the ability to shoulder charge, and the ability to dash on top of them, with having the heat sink to be able to make these decisions in these plays, while having the ability to set yourself up for success to get high ground opportunities, so you can be able to unga-bunga all over the fucking face. And they can't kill you because they can't burn through your fucking health fast enough. This is the pinnacle of what's going inside of Cryo Archive. And then, when those people come out of Cryo Archive, they're then taking those weapons into the beginner zone, and they're doing to those beginner players what PvP experts do to people inside the Revenant caves. Here's your game culture. Here's your game culture. So, for all parts that are important, your ranked environment is full of people who are more focused on grenading each other to death and self-rezzing on 2 sides of a point where they can't see each other. They're going into Cryo Archive trying to dumpster everything ignoring most of the content, ignoring most of the mechanics, ignoring most of what they're supposed to learn about the ship, to the point that they were complaining that they couldn't find the exfils. Something very necessary to understand about the exfils of CryoArchive is that you're not guaranteed a final exfil. The final exfil is a 60-second timer. Actually, no, I think it's actually more like 3 minutes, but your ability to actually find it requires you to look at signal jammers that you have to unblock so that you can be able to scan the areas of the ship so that you can be able to actually find the room. And then the final one is, in fact, a minute ping, where you have to figure out where the fuck it is and then run for your goddamn life. Otherwise, you will lose everything you just got on said ship. The closest that I can actually be able to compare it to is it's basically a smaller Revenant cave. It's not as big. It's not big, but it's big enough. I think there's a post on my timeline that I just looked at that had the map. But you're looking at, effectively, this game's version of the Revenant cave. And in this game's version of the Revenant cave, having knowledge of where to go and what to push and how to fight is going to be more important than any of the other shit a person potentially has to bargain. People watching from inside the server, excuse the porn. It's my timeline. What did you expect? Now, mind you, it is actually possible to do what people have been naming is a marathon 0 to hero, which is that it is possible to go into CryoArchive and leave as best as you can. I actually have said run in front of you from Marathon Air. This clip is 11-20 minutes long. If you don't want to watch to quote the end, they have said that the breakpoint is at 7:16, but I believe for the purposes of education, we need to witness this entire full thing itself. They are choosing to do this with triage, and let's just see what happens. Excuse me.
Holotips contribute 1-to-1 to vault value. You can buy them in the store for 500 credits. It is by far probably the best way to pad value. I can already see some pretty degenerate gameplay patterns.
For the sake of consideration for the broadcast, I'm going to speed this up by 1.5. That's 1.75. 1.5.
Using this, but yeah, gear anti, at least before they patch it, gear anti is fake. You don't need it. Hashtag naked on the Kive. Alright, I'm just gonna die. Okay. I'm dead.
The reason why it's sped up at this point is not me speeding the video, speeding it up. They're going through each zone, trying to clear it and to pull it for loot. They are doing the basic level content that you can do inside of CryoArchive, which instead of fighting teams and players, you can fight the bots and gain minimal levels of security clearance to be able to start opening the doors that will lead to the loot opportunities that will give you chances to not only find material, but will lead you to guaranteed loot exfils. Because in every loot room, including the loot room that has the best content, there are multiple doors with increasing levels of security clearance that will give you better and better ways to exfil, because the idea is get the security clearance to open the door with a key that you already came with, or with one that you found on the bodies of other people, or open random loot rooms that you have the ability to get with security clearance, and then, after getting the loot from those security rooms, take the guaranteed exfil extract that is in that area and leave with your content, or potentially push for more inside of Cryo. He's effectively doing a two-man duo with a thief, with himself playing triage, where he's using his body as a method to absorb damage for his team member to take out the bots so that they don't have to waste bullet ammunition if not necessary. They're navigating through the traps, they're opening doors, they're checking their corners, they are playing like extraction shooter players are, quote, expected to play in this game, even more so in the fact that when they're being attacked by multiple teams or by multiple points of pressure, that they have to basically assume that they're not getting camped. At this point in the run, they have been able to find enough material and enough loot when they first came to the ship that they went from having nothing and mostly their items to having... And this is a ranked environment run, mind you, with having enough in the run to have batteries and coolant, to also have gotten blue shields and good enough mods on equipment that they've gotten off the bots alone. So it is in fact possible to go from low rate, fully kitted, to walking out like an overlord, which is why I continue to compare it to old school RuneScape and other forms of money-making methods that allow you to go from having no loot to having all the loot.
Oh, people in front of us.
They get into their first gunfight and they're able to drop people. Because of the use of the bubble, this is where the grenade spam is about to begin.
No,
the way the bot. You got that?
I'm sorry,
yeah. We're getting shot from. Oh, I think it's sniper bot.
They reset the fight using the triage.
The opening door on this side. Interesting.
I've got two commanders on me. Okay.
He uses his own self-revive to get away from the bots. Keeps going through the ship to try and get more loot while he's trying to inch away from the combat damage.
Right outside this.
Okay, I'm opening a door then.
They bubbled.
Two cracked. No way.
His team member cleans up the fight.
I'm looting.
They obviously loot their bodies, and they take their weapons. The brown objects that you see inside that inventory are brown holotags. These brown holotags are things that communicate value of your loot run and are necessary for a part of ranked. Basically, this is how you rank up. In order for you to be able to rank up, you need to be able to get loot that is worth more of your exfiltration value than normal. That means that if you have a low amount of loot, your loot value is based on your vault. So the higher your loot value, the better your loot exfiltration. Period. This is very important because the only way to rank up is by taking other people's money, basically. It is the exact same thing I've communicated before about games that have a battle royale system. You cannot be vegan. They've made it so that you cannot be vegan and you cannot rat. You cannot just wait for an opportunity to present itself. You actually do have to try and get to a fair power share value. And you cannot just be able to PVM your way through either. It is possible that you could outside of ranked, but inside of ranked, you have to take fights. So you do have to be decent enough at the game that you can be able to actually defend yourself. They scavenge what they can and what they need off their kits while they're patching up. They take their items, they take their weapons, they take their shield charges, they take their guns, they take their munitions.
Holotags. Come on, open the vault.
Yeah. I'm following you.
Which one would it be? Is it in the index one?
Maybe. I got the hack.
They make their way around while they're trying to build their security clearance to level 3.
It's open?
Yeah, the loot's on there, isn't it? We can jump in the loot room.
Gold shield! Finish.
One got out. Yeah.
Not only are they able to take out a fully kitted player who is ready for PvP with all the heavy and mix bullets possible,
oh my god,
but they're also able to take his gold backpack, his gold weapon, and his gold augments.
The fucking Thrish! They got the Thrish!
Get the fuck out.
Dude, he's gotta be camping us down there. He has to be.
No, we're going in normal entrance.
We need to go scan. Go out normal entrance and then scan where we were, because we know it's clear. Ready?
Yeah. They didn't drop the silver king.
Over there.
We know cargo's clear, don't we? Because that's where we came from. Shit, how do we get there again? Oh, we're on the wrong side. Go through door.
That's why he drops out, no?
Did you get the Drish? The gold bird.
No.
Oh, we'll leave it.
There's no extra here.
No, yeah, it's in cargo.
I think we need to drop down now.
I'm scanning. Hold on, see if we can find one nearby. No, we got drop down.
There's a terminal below.
Yeah, we'll go to the one in control. I'll hit it.
They are so bad. There's no way.
Dude, on a 0 to hero run.
Cargo.
How'd you get cargo again?
This way.
Okay.
On me. Cargo.
I'm flying in. Ross building.
Nice run. I'm on the ground, careful.
You just wanna run by?
Yeah. To get out.
Good mantling and good movement to get them to the matter transfer. They make it to the
Go back to the other VC.
They make it to the matter transfer in time, which would have closed after 3 minutes in under a minute.
Go back to the other VC.
And then, on their way out of the hall, even though they did leave behind the golds that they wanted to have, because they wanted to take what was there, they ended up coming back with the salt wages for their loot as the following. 1 gold, 1 purple, the majority of the resources that they stole off of other people, good mods, mostly gold mods, as well as his own Spectre armor kit for 3 sealed slots and the ability to gain invisibility. This is what the designer envisioned Cryo Archive would look like. Unfortunately, for everybody else, that's not what you get to have. You get to have grenade spam. Enjoy. So, at the end of the day, if this is the experience that you're expected to have in Marathon, if this is the true content that required delays on reviews, that required holding off, that required lying about people and taking their words and their gameplay out of context, saying that media game grifters don't know how to play the video game to get to this point, that they wouldn't be able to experience the actual loot of the game because they don't experience it and they don't understand it, and thus they're going out of their way to make it look worse than it is. Is Marathon a good game? No. It is a polished dogshit turd. It was always a polished dogshit turd. As it is a polished dogshit turd, there are parts of it that had the quality of a AAA game. In most of those pieces of its quality, it was the fact that it looked nice. It sounded nice. And in looking and sounding nice, it was something that made you feel like, hey, it's kind of good. Example being the introduction to Cryo Archive that many people said around the board was peak.
Look at you. Violent little things with ambitions to challenge the stars. You've traveled oh so far to trespass where you are not welcome. And here, now, your next steps offer possibilities undreamt. The marathon. Its secrets. Are they worth your everything? I have seen what haunts that skeleton ship. I would like you to greet them. To throw your bodies upon their altar as sacrifice to the endless horrors your ambitions invite. The marathon is waiting, and it grows impatient. Please, do not disappoint.
So, I believe I can do a lot of justice for resident member of the audience, Reflex Sight, when I exclaim for him. That's the fucking reason we didn't like this shit in the first goddamn place. Imagine how much better the game would be if instead of an extraction shooter experience, this was a single to multiplayer online campaign that actually walked you through all of this great time-based, time-locked ARG lore that you don't actually get to experience, because instead, I get to experience the same fuck-ass bullshit. Run after run after run after run of the same 5 to 7 classes, including you, Rook. I'm tired of you blowing my ankles out. Those Claymore mines hurt a little bit more than just my bank account. They hurt my feelings. Run after run after run after run multi-team fight, so they're actively teaming on camera because they're streaming together on stream. I got a burp. There we go. Exploiters and all the fuck-ass bullshit that can happen in a 9-way team fight, all because Bungie, in their infinite wisdom and lack thereof, thought it was more important to package and repackage the original Marathon as an extraction shooter rather than as the single multiplayer experience as a PvE game, as an MMORPG it could have been. To sate the base level needs of the most disingenuous, barbaric, low IQ, low empathy, low sympathy, no moral having, attention-seeking losers of its audience, and for them to defend this behavior, saying, actually, no, bro, this is peak, bro. Bro, you can't defend against this. This is our culture, bro. All because they're digmatized by fucking cinematographic trailers for zones that feel and look more impressive than they actually are in the content. Because when you remove the pomp, the circumstance, and the polish on the shiny, shitty turd, you're still handling a shitty turd. No amount of playing the game loop will undo this. No amount of playing the game well will undo this. No amount of playing good will undo this. To even compete well against the people, you have to invest the time into your core liaisons. You won't be able to complete your contracts well enough to gear up in a short amount of time unless you're playing solo. If you're playing solo, you will not actually be able to properly experience the game loop, because every single time you're fighting, someone will be backstabbing you. In Assassin, or Vandal, or Recon, and occasionally Thief, because they would rather take constant gunfights and play with free kits than actually risk themselves to go 0 to hero in cryo. And they don't want to risk it going 0 to hero and cryo on ranked, because that actually isn't what they're playing for. What are they playing for? They're playing for the ability to get to the loot as quickly as possible so they can do the shit that I showed you on your way in here, as I originally showed you at the top of the broadcast. What does that mean? It means they specifically want to go from the melee builds gotta go experience immediately into shitting down your neck and putting you in a position where the only thing you get to experience is the broadside, broadside. The broadside of their brand new spanking weapon that they just took from cryo, so they can shit on your neck and then taunt you inside of proximity chat. Because fuck the new players, you don't have anything, and I'm bored, so I'm going to make you waste your time fighting into me. That right there, in its entirety, that's the culture of Marathon. Multiple people have already called it. The people who claimed that this is what Marathon is are people who bought the reconstruction of what Bungie gave them. They are people who think that this is peak, that this is Kino, that this is real content. And if you're whining and crying about it, it's because you can't compete and can't perform. So what's the example of what you say to these players, now that we're back here from the top of the broadcast? What do you say to these players here who are getting wiped, who just logged in for the first time inside of normal perimeter, where they're not in perimeter beginner, where there are no protections to protect them from this dog level bullshit? from all the technology that's going to keep being excused in by the Destiny players who want to have an edge over everybody else in a game that was designed to be a slower pace experience. In a game that was supposed to give them the ability to build their power peaks up so that they could be able to afford this power fantasy. What do you say to those players that are getting bullied now? That are going to find themselves on the raw end of the gold weapons. They're going to find themselves on the raw end of the gold shields. They're going to find themselves on the raw end of all of the potential content that will be working against them as the divide between the haves and the have-nots get deeper. So sorry, you suck dick, get better at the game. That's the reason why you suck. You're a grifter. Again, you're a grifter if you're bitching and whining. And by choosing to point this out as a part of the broadcast, as doing my job as a fucking media journalist, allegedly, single-player Carl's bad at the video game, so let's demonstrate examples of how he doesn't understand the game loop. Except even in my solo sessions, even though most of them do end in failure, no, actually, I'm killing plenty of people. The problem is that we can't get the loot back, because we're still getting back-fucked. And the reason that that number keeps going lower and lower on Marathon's charts, something that you don't understand about full loot PvP, Marathonians, in order to feed a full loot PvP environment, you have to have haves and have-nots. Because the game loop, if you have a have-not environment, is that there is something that is quintessentially keeping the people who are new and the people who are veterans and less funded than those who are funded in the game. If players stop queuing up because they know that even in the beginner maps, they're going to get butt-fucked by people who are stronger than them at all times, what point do they have to keep playing if a person who's at account level 10 versus somebody who's at account level 50, who has a bank value of 300k more than that new player, has to play against them? They don't. So when that person stops playing, and the next person, and the next person, and the next person, when entire lobbies quit after horrible, bad sessions back-to-back on all maps, because they're taking this loot into all maps. Ideally, you'd like them to take this into Outpost only. Maybe occasionally Dire, but not Perimeter. But they're taking it into all of the modes, all of the maps, the ones that are available weekly. They're taking this into all modes, all maps, against all players. What do you think is gonna fucking happen, you stupid fucking bitch? You antagonize them, you insult them, you berate them, and then you chastise, you proselytize, and you fucking patronize them. And then, as you're telling them, oh, doesn't it look bad? I'm up here and you're down there. You're at the perfect cock-sucking height. Yeah, zip it up when you're done. Pink! When you do that, kill after kill, lobby after lobby, asking questions like, were they even men after you pinked off their heads like ACU, or any other person who's playing in a triple lobby right now? When you play in multiple back-to-back lobbies, what the fuck do you expect people to do if they realistically feel like a game that doesn't respect their time of investment isn't gonna give them the goal for how they can advance their own account against your account? And if there are, in fact, players that don't want to engage in the ranked loop, as we demonstrated with the conversations that I was having, and are egotistical enough to believe that they would be granted the ability to sit on free kits the entirety of their career session, using them as a crutch. When I want to risk my loot, I'm going to do it against the missions that matter. But when it comes to killing other players, I'm only ever going to take a free kit so that I can be able to kill in the name of my honorable Arakthi. When all of the supposed hardcore PvP players are doing nothing but trying to create the best edge for their advantages as possible, why the fuck do you think this number is where it is? And, to add injury to insult, why the fuck do you think This number is where it is. For those that are playing the home game of single player, Carl, the numbers that is currently on the screen is the Arc Raider numbers. They are a 6-figure number that is triple the current number that is online compared to Marathon, excuse me. 152,119 for a 24-hour peak of 158K. I'm going to round that up to a little under 260. Or excuse me, 160. 160 to a number that is much more closer to 52, 53. It is a 3-figure difference. Why the fuck do you think this number is mogging you? It's not because, lol, the babies can't hang in my game. It's because your game is dog shit! Your game loop is dog shit because your players make it dog shit. They don't want to do respectful Dark Souls-like PvP. They don't want the verticality, all weapons at all times environment. They are trying to manifest Destiny. And I don't mean that as a meme. I mean literally. They're trying to manifest Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 inside a Marathon. And anybody who doesn't like it is a little pissant crybaby who you're going to post clips of time and time and time again, excusing obvious trash! Obvious bugs, obvious glitches, obvious exploits! Because it's my fun, it's my culture, it's my fun, it's my culture. It can't handle my voice. My anger is powerful. I'll try moving it away, but I can promise you it's still going to keep peaking, because I'm annoyed by this. Obvious glitches, obvious bugs, obvious power curves that need to be nerfed, obvious problems that need to be fixed, obvious issues that need to be fixed, time observations that need to be changed, but won't be right now because they want to see how you're going to behave. And you did exactly what the fuck they expected you to do. So, this number's going to keep growing in favor of Arc Raiders, and it's going to keep shrinking in the favor of Marathon. Do not blame Jeffrey Tarzia. Do not blame Vara Dark. The anti-woke grifters didn't break your game's environment. You fuckers did. You're killing your own game with your solipsistic idea of what you think the game is compared to what the developer for your game actively told you in his own bio posts the game is. There are those of you that think that the game loop is about harassing the other players after you kill them. The developer of the game wants there to be reasons that you log in to play to aspire to be able to fight back against those players that killed you before. But in an environment where versus the haves and the have-nots that have access to this content, how does a person with gray shields and a single weapon have the ability to fight back against a team that is actively hunting them and shitting on them with superior weapons, superior fire, superior defense, superior shields, superior offense, and actively making an example of them for their VODs so they can make infinite clicks on them saying, yeah, bro, this is real good. This is really, really, really good. Because this time, they're not on the side of the gun that's facing them. But when it happens to them, they'll be the first ones mauling. What the fuck did you expect to fucking happen when you decided to call natural bullying culture? And you expected them to stay there? That's the most bizarre part to me. You expected players that are actively being told, we will farm you in the most Squidward way possible. We will kill you. You expected them to keep queuing in to getting farmed? Like it's COD. May you receive everything you deserve, Bungie. May you receive everything you deserve. If you're able to find inside of this a niche hardcore audience that wants to have the ability to fight you and wants to have the ability to sink into you with the various levels of what it requires and designs, more power to you. Because you, in fact, have indeed struck gold on this one, but it's golden shit. If you're not able to sustain this, and if you're not able to sustain this because you can't find enough victims that are willing to get farmed for this, well, you're going to have to start putting some limitations on the game. You have to separate it into real loot-based fight clubs. Perimeter has to become a zone that is going to be for the people who have little to no bank vault. Dire Marsh is going to have to become a zone for the people who are in the mid-levels. Outpost is going to have to be a place where from the highest to the lowest, it is a high-risk, high-rollers club. You can come in with nothing and you can leave with everything, or you can come in with everything and leave penniless. Cryo Archive has to remain, just like Ranked, an environment where there cannot be a free kit. They have to have a higher account than 5k. 5k is a good start. But if you want this to really be balanced, you're probably going to need to make it 10. 10k minimum. 10k minimum. Because of most of the values in the guns, it shouldn't be that hard to bring it back up. And you're probably also going to have to start restricting it based on vault value. And you're going to have to make different instances. Because if you want it to only be those versions of the map so you can make multiple shards of the same zone, the case problem is going to happen where people are going to start making alternate accounts to put the gold weapons on so that they can be able to take them into their zones and still shit on people. So you have to actually start making it be a vault restriction. Vault restriction might be cleaner, but it's also going to piss more people off because how the fuck can't I bully those low-level players? You're not supposed to. If you can bully low-level players at your level, then you're just a really good player, just like it works inside of old-school RuneScape. If you're able to fight people at a combat level of 30, or a combat level of 80, or an anti-rusher or an anti-PKer account, and blah, 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 then you're just good, bro. But if you decide to go into a high roller's room, and you're intentionally going in there to be able to shit on all the people there because actually you have a lot more value than people have expected you to come in with, and you're trying to run the gambit and run the jewels, you're just asking for the environment of your old game, and you're trying to justify it by saying, we're old heads here. This is how we used to play. Okay, you can play by yourself. And yes, all these things and more reflex. Mind you, the professional reviewer single-player Carl is not as angry as real gamer single-player Carl. Simply, I am voicing the opinions of those that definitively need to hear their opinions heard. Because unfortunately, out here in these streets, in order for a person to have an argument and an opinion, they must legitimately play the game well. And I believe that after this amount of time that I've invested into the game thus far, and will continue to in the future, because we're only at the beginning of Band for Band, it is the case that it will continue to be the case. So, as I report on this throughout the week and throughout whatever content videos, because Lord knows there are people who are not coming to the broadcasts and hearing my opinion for what it is. When I eventually have to make the video updates of this, to demonstrate how shitty this is, it will be the case that it will have to be cemented in how bad it really gets. This is Lorax levels of devastating your player history. If there is anything that is going to kill the fun and the culture of your video game, it is the haves versus the have-nots. You either need to find a way to restrict the power, or you need to wipe sooner. That's all there is to it. That's all there is. There's nothing else. The fact of the matter is that you've already had people within the first week and a half trying to find ways to create movement tech that is just troon slime. And I'm not one to use the word troon, let alone troon shine, in a derogatory manner, but no, Your game was made to be slow-paced, so that people could actually be able to enjoy the content. If they're playing at the speed of Apex Legends, trying to pad their score rate to say that, bro, 15k is completely possible, when it in fact is not, unless you're taking on other people, and you're beating those people because they are not expecting you to have the ability to teleport on top of their fucking head, and while you're already dumping the entire combat shotgun in their chest, that you pull out a fucking knife that then allows you to go from nearly fucking dead to completely healed on down, and then fully restored when you fucking finish them, then you're talking about benefits of power that have to be changed. Remove the thief tech, if it has not been worked on and has been announced already. Remove the free dash movement, wave dash tech. That has already been announced and they're already working on that. Figure out a way to work on the tier system of loot, so that players that don't have are not getting raped by those who do have. Or you're going to have yourself a nice, safe, hardcore, empty bubble. End of the story. Now, if somebody has something they'd like to say back to that, and you feel that I'm completely wrong, I've somehow misconstrued what the video game actually is about, and whether or not any of that shit matters, prove me wrong. Take my money. Call into the show. Links have been posted inside the pins on all my streams. Tell me what you think I don't know about the game, and prove what I need to be told is the truth. Taking callers. If no callers, I'll end in 5 minutes and then start up a secondary stream. This was from last night. Itchy head. Bad system just restrict value to your loot, as it doesn't matter if you have a player, your gun is still too strong. Yeah, I agree with that. Having a nerf system to your exotic weapon isn't going to change the fact that you're still using an exotic weapon. The stat stick that the gun represents is just too strong. Because most of the gold tier weapons is just a better improved baseline version of weapons that are already in the game that have stat sticks that are on top of them. Doesn't matter how non-existent the story would have been, Destiny 2 needed to be pumped alive to keep the containment zone active. If you look at Marathon as a containment zone, then it's achieving exactly what it's supposed to do. The worst of Destiny's audience are playing this video game, telling themselves that this is great shit that they love to play, and they are experiencing the consequences that come from having done so. Whether that's a good thing or not is entirely secondary to the fact of whether or not it's enjoyable. Of course, the opinions that you're seeing on Twitter are not opinions that are actually showing themselves to be very popular. The bully squads that have been going around talking shit to content creators, they are a very small vocal minority that clearly isn't actually experiencing the peak of what gameplay is. Ow. Ow. At least Destiny 2 didn't have proximity chat. That's the only one improvement I can think of. Well, Destiny 2, outside of your PvP mode, was at best a MMO ARPG. Rather than allowing yourself to play a real ARPG, you chose to play an FPS ARPG that nickeled and dimed you with a ongoing experience that brought you to the totality of the destruction of your player base when they couldn't deliver content that lived up to your expectations. Some of the Destiny 2 audience tried to find ways to defer, but in most ways didn't. And so, they didn't have anything to do, and found themselves only really engaging with material and content that enticed them to try things out. Proc chat shouldn't be a thing in this game like this, where the game should only have squad chat where it's only your squad. It is possible to turn off proximity chat and only listen to your squad. So it's possible to avoid the toxicity that's coming from people using proximity chat. But you won't be able to avoid the fact that since you're playing on shards of servers, if a person recognizes who you are inside of the lobby, they can still stream snipe you, should you or a member of your chat room be streaming, and popular enough that they can triangulate who they are and where they are, so they can be able to not only camp the box where they are supposed to be, but also use their vision as a way to screen peek you, so they can triangulate your positioning and be able to stop you from reviving your team, doing the full wipe, or hunt you down based on reflex of where your vision is. What they really need to avoid that, what they need to counter that, is a streamer mode. They need a streamer mode that hides the names of the chatters and users. Because without streamer mode, that's going to be what happens every time. It's not the only thing that's going to happen, but it's the main thing that's what's going to happen. You gonna really stick that knife in the younger me? Yes, the fuck I will! Come, my child. Come to me in exile. Come to me in Path of Exile. And I will show you what real, satisfactory, meaningful content feels like. You won't be bullied anymore by the extraction shooters. At least not extraction shooters that are shittily designed like Marathon. You can come to a good extraction shooter video game, like Eternal Return. You can come to a better ARPG, like Path of Exile 1 and 2. You could probably pay another $40 and play fucking Arc Raiders, a much better experience, because at least in solos, maybe you'll find people who have camaraderie with you. You hate how it's always a streamer issue? Well, as long as there are people who are thirsty to be famous, it will always float back to the streamers. Because if the streamers are the ones that are being taken advantage of because of these things that are being provided from the gameplay loop, it is the fact that they're going to have to deal with the consequences of said gameplay loop. So no matter what they do, it is the case that they will suffer from those consequences and from those value judgments based on those things alone. Because if a broadcaster is getting fucked over by a bug, the broadcaster will be the first of many who will have the ability to get the problem. If a streamer experiences a bug on camera, they'll probably be the first one that can actually report it so that it can get fixed. This isn't a fair equation, however, because it basically puts the streamer in the position that they are given an unfair level of trust and expectation. They really shouldn't be. They shouldn't be given that level of trust and expectation, because many of them choose to unfairly use it, to complain that they shouldn't be affected by the things that are affecting other people. For years, streamers have been given the privilege of being given preferential treatment. From streamer queues to methodologies of matchmaking that allows it easier for them to farm for content and all the other bullshit and all the other fucking problems that come with the vitriolic hatred that comes with streamer attitudes and expectations. But there is none so more that it's more irritating than the fact that matchmaking queues, as simple as this, can be fucked with by people who have a vitriolic hatred of the broadcaster that they can ruin the experience for everybody involved. Simply because, fuck that guy. He doesn't deserve to have fun. Is that a fucked up thing to say on its level, on the face of it? Prima facie, probably. But they make it easy to hate them. The broadcasters said about other broadcasters. They make it easy to hate them. They make it easy to hate them. They make it easy to hate them. They make it easy to judge them. They make it easy to antagonize them. They make it easy to antagonize them. They make it easy to hurt them. Ugh. The next step up is the logo hoodie, and that's $80. I should wait for the next full paycheck before I buy that. That's 800 points. But they make it really, really, really easy. Really easy to fucking loathe these individuals. Exceptionally so. Exceptionally so. Because of how entitled the people in question feel they are to having the right to tell you or I or anyone else how you ought be able to enjoy and consume the game, its contents, its materials, and everything else that is at its display. Because the only thing that matters to them is the final result of what they get from yucking your yum. It shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be this way. The only reason that it is this way is because this kind of preferential treatment was built into the influencer networking and influencer styling since forever. It was always the case that this was something that was being pushed in at that quality. Very dog shit, very stupid, very dumb. But it is a problem. It is a very stupid, very inconsiderate problem. But there is a problem. I shouldn't be showing you that screen on the inside of the Discord because somebody could steal that key. Fortunately, if there's only 2 people here, so if that key disappears when I go to give it away to somebody, I'll know who took it. Kappa. Teehee. Smiling face. But no. It is the case that this kind of nature of humanity, this is what extraction shooters bring out in people. I'm just joking, Reflex. But this is the nature of what extraction shooters bring out in people. I said before on a broadcast that in order to be a good competitor, you can't be a nice person. And the truth of the matter is that extraction shooters are a game that require you to be good competition. To be good competition, you need to have a good mindset about how to be a good competitor. To be a good competitor doesn't mean that you're going to be a fucking Dick Dastardly in the wacky fucking races. But it does mean that you're going to have to learn how to be violent, you're going to have to learn how to have an edge, and you're going to have to learn how to be able to negotiate and navigate the troubled waters of your emotional state while you're dealing with people who are trying to piss you off to take control of your emotional state so they can get a situational advantage over you. But the cycle of everyone and their most vile, negative game loops affecting your game loop, this is what it gets you. I want to minimize my risk. Who cares about free kits? Well, we don't have access to a free kit, and your loot is important to you, and it's the only way that you get to experience the peak of the gameplay. Out comes the grenades. and literally the knives. When you don't have access to being able to fight back the guy with the gold weapon, the only thing you can do is throw down a bubble and hope that motherfucker walks into a knife. When you are a member of the have-nots versus the haves that have the gold weapon that keep farming the perimeter lobby because they can, because they're trying to test their new gun, the only thing you can do is say, nigga, go fuck yourselves, go take yourself back to the ranked environment where that gun belongs and log out forever. Because the game doesn't respect your intelligence, it doesn't respect your time. And neither do the players inside of it. Because they don't even have enough shame to take it to a place it deserves to belong in. Like Outpost. And when you make the excuses of saying, this is peak culture, you guys just can't hang, you get to have the privilege of watching your game's time dwindle to nothing. And you can dread it, you can run from it, you can piss it off, you can say that the value is based on whether or not the argument is how many people are playing your game live on the Outpost designed for people to appeal to the massive modern audience. Hell, we already went over the example of Ninja and his own audiences saying, bro, I don't want to stream Marathon because we're not getting numbers from it. It's not popular with the streamers because of the culture that you've made in the game that's fucking over streamers and players, and the supposed hardcore members of the audiences are trying to defend this behavior by saying you're taking away their fun, while actively the people who are designing the game are trying to tell them, but have you tried risking your own stuff? And they're actively telling them, no! I'll throw grenades through the door before I ever shoot a bullet at someone I can't get the drop on. And that is definitionally bad gameplay loop that leads to a bad game. Now, for all of the parts that make up Marathon, all of the little itty-bitty parts, especially the parts that you saw there in the Zero to Hero run that was done by the player, Marathonianair? I'm going to call him Marathonianair. By that Zero to Hero run that was done by Marathonianair, where they not only defeated bots, navigated the ship, defeated people in the runs for the teams, and then made it out of ranked with their loot and ranked up in the experience while doing it. That's going to be the top 10 percentile of the experience of Marathon. And in that vision, very much similar to the vision of whatever the fuck was going on with Highguard, that is the vision in which Marathon is trying to sell to people. But the reality of the 90% percentile of the bottom of that 10%, the rest of it is the shit that you've been seeing, that you've been hearing, and that I showed you. Everybody's trying to get an advantage on top of everybody else, and nobody's willing to risk their own dollars in order to take somebody else's dollars. So they're trying to find shortcuts to make it easier. First, it was trying to find ways to deliver the shotgun bullets faster to your chest. Then it was trying to find ways to glitch the hook so that Thief was the only frame you were seeing. And now you're going back to seeing mostly Vandal, mostly Recon, and almost always Assassin. Now, it is people trying to justify culture, pushing them in the direction of this. All while telling people, don't play another game. You're just dog shit and you need to play this more because you guys don't take accountability. That's one that I find was extremely funny. And I think before I set up the VOD for the next stream, we're going to end on that point. I think that's probably the funniest part about this particular cope cycle that I witnessed. Because it's the part that annoys me the most. Specifically because of people's inability to take accountability themselves while telling other people to take accountability. Obviously, a part of this cope loop is people's inability to tell the truth. And I find it a very interesting factor that people kept doing this. Because this was something that actually got a response from a content creator when I was talking about this in the video game. I'm trying to find where it is, because I know it's one of my particular posts. Because here it is. Friend of the channel, Decembro. But, starting here, where I said, quote, over and over again, nobody can make their own arguments. They take somebody else's argument to use themselves to antagonize someone else while putting people who don't belong in the same breath inside of insults because they do not like them. First, it's you're grifting. You don't know anything about the game and its mechanics, and this is why you guys suck and why nobody should listen to you. Then it became, you're grifting because you're not playing like Shroud and you can't make a review without playing all of the content. And now it's, you guys don't take any accountability for sucking cock. You don't take any accountability for sucking dick. Because they continue to try to put Varadark in the same bullshit as Smashed AT. And others, such as myself and others like us, because they are incapable of telling the honest truth about what it is we actually think and care about the things that we're talking about. Varadark didn't make excuses when people were trying to antagonize her because she was playing day one of her experience. She took accountability for what she said, but everybody ignored it because it was easier to spam the same 4 clips. The same 4 clips. Every single fucking person bitching and crying. The same 4 clips. And now everybody just lies and slanders everybody by using somebody else's arguments, namely here, a video from the content creator Rom Style, to say, hey, who's gonna defend him, bro? Bro, listen, they're just dog shit grifters that don't understand the game, bro. They don't understand that this is really peak culture, bro. Because they don't actually want to have honest conversations. They just want the pig boys to be able to antagonize people and judge them. Because it's easier. It's easier to be a part of the mob to hate them. And what led to the discussion, and what led to me having a conversation with Zembro about this, was about this particular video that came from somebody trying to point out Luke Stephens when he was taking content about Dragon Age the Veilguard. They claimed, do you remember when Dragon Age didn't send review codes to people farming hate content around the game, and they all put up videos crying about it because they felt entitled to a free copy of the game? More games should do that. Creators rely on being hateful bottom feeders to stay relevant. Should be starved of content and left to wither away. We don't need this dishonest crap. Which then prompted me to say, not getting a free code doesn't make content like this go away. Are you fucking retarded? And yes, the person was fucking retarded. The content is the material that is made from the game and the discourse. If you want that discourse and that content to go away in that content cycle, the game needs to be good or the drama cycle has to go stale. And which my nigga Decembro, who knows ball, says exactly. The content doesn't even come from the review code having crowd. It's why they don't get them. They've never got them, lol. I don't know who the fuck it is, but they sound delusional. We can go back 10 to 15 years. A guy like Andrew Goat wasn't even the worst amongst his peers, and he didn't use to get them. And it didn't stop him from grinding out a game at launch and having a review code out within a few weeks telling the devs that they fucked up. And I then added on, and that's just for that game cycle. They're mad about the content, but they don't understand what actually fuels it. And this is the key thing that people aren't understanding about why there's such a vitriolic refusal and dislike of the shit that's happening when it came down to the factor of people describing and discussing what the fuck we're talking about, especially somebody like myself, who, while I might play games that have PvP in them and have full loot PvP in them, it's a very wide distance between Deadlock, Smite, and League of Legends for me to play something like Eternal Return and promote it actively every chance I can get, the same way I do with Path of Exile, both free on Steam today. Just Path of Exile 1 though. Have to play a $30 buy-in for early access too. There's a reason why I would promote such things, even though that I would be considered somebody who would rather play grand strategy games and roguelikes. Because in wanting my time to be valued, I'd rather not have to deal with the bullshit that says I have to basically lose the content that I've been working towards because somebody else decided to take it from me. Hell, you could probably say this is part of the reason I have a dislike of OSRS PvP, because it's full of people with the exact same mindset. Yes, it's much easier for you to be able to justify it in the sense that you could probably learn how to get better at the game and then have a fighting chance to put up against them, but you're talking about years of experience and years of work and years of skill that if all you want to do is grind in that game and be a skiller or a max account that avoids PvP when you can and only does it as a form of escape, not trying to take other people for their bank vault value, it's acceptable things that you can do. But I continued to explain from here that this is the point that people aren't getting. Because the people who then choose to go on these cope spiral loops that we've just demonstrated is the case, they don't communicate to people that they accuse of catering to the shit that they see in it when they see the shit. It's the Jeff Kaplan idea of, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all and let me enjoy my slop. Why are you being a hidden-ass bitch in my ear, making me not enjoy a video game? Kind of angle that keeps the slop content and the bad video games flowing, with the twist that if someone's grifting, it invalidates anything that they say is true. Because the only reason that they're saying it is because they're making money. The only reason they are saying this is because they're making money. The only reason they're saying it is because they're trying to hate against the game, but these bitches can't actually survive in these runs. Except the people who are talking about it aren't even posting their own content of them surviving runs. So who the fuck are they to have to be able to give an opinion to have of a point in the first place? They're being hypocritical, but that doesn't matter. They're a part of the hate mob, so the hate mob is completely excluded from it. So, if the drama slop ends for the game cycle, it just continues up into the next cycle. Because it didn't fix or address any and all of the games or any of the bad slop creativity problems that are everywhere. Just those that complain getting mad at seeing a topic getting oversaturated in the marketplace of ideals and ideas. Effectively becoming the microcosm of the Concordian timeline compared to the back and forth about Veilguard, Mass Effect, and whatever such bullshit was fetched 4 months ago up till now, and on into the future. Namely, even if you address each and every single instance, creator, example, and argument, if the points and observations were made in good faith or bad faith, it doesn't undo the fact that you're essentially trying to label an entire demographic, if not the entire demographic appeal, as a tainted problem. Ergo, the gamer side ruined the game. Now we have to ignore all the opinions because they're only repeating what the grifters are saying. Boom! You just killed Concord in the head. Again, headshot. Well, now they're grifting about our shooters because they can't play them. Only if listen to official influencers. Boom, boom! You just shot Highguard in the chest, baby. Why'd you do that? Well, now they're writing reviews, but our loyal customer Sims are mogging them with the same 5 clips out of context with bad gameplay. So we're harassing them all over the timeline while we do so. It's so peak how we're able to do that to them, guys. It's so funny. It's so funny. I'm trying to find a good example of this sound effect. No, that's not the sound effect I want. This doesn't work well without a minigun sound effect. There we go. As I was saying. Well, now they're writing reviews, but our loyal customers Sims are mogging with the same 5 out of context clips of bad gameplay because they're completely bad about the things that they can't work at, and it's saving our culture and economy, and we just don't have to worry. And every single video game that requires people to not have to handle this, niggas are doing tricks on. TLDR. For those that aren't with the visual or the audio portion. The people that are bitching and whining in these kinds of cope cycles, they do not understand the life cycle of drama slop content, or drama content in general, or how it gets produced, and in the incompetency of hating on those with strong opinions that are fueled either by drama or not. They create the sanitized bubbles that then kill games because no real gamer demographic was consulted before the shit hit the fan. To that wit and end. Marathon is a polished ball of dirt and dog shit. Cryo Archive took a bottle of water and got that polished ball of shit dirt all nice and saturated with the real opinions and the real experiences of all the people who said they were real Destiny fans that asked for this. And every single thing happening to that crumbling ball of wet, soggy, shitty turd in your hand that they're crushing to prove that they're better than the woke game grifters and anti-woke game grifters is materializing into everything that they deserve to have. Dog shit. smothering their hands. Yes, I spoke that on purpose to make you feel exactly what I wanted to emotionally feel with that image in your mind. Does that mean that Marathon at the end of the day is a horribly bad game? No, it means it's a video game much like all of the other video games that exist. It's a video game that the bones and the structure of the game can be fun, but the way that people choose to play it will always taint it. It won't be able to recover until the developers decide to take control of the culture, or until the culture itself settles in about another 2.5 months. We're currently at what? The back half of March? The game launched on March 5th. That means we're getting close to the 1 month mark point. In about 2 to 3 more months, the culture of this game will be decided, as well as its future as a live service title. If they're not able to keep the retention of their player numbers, they're going to falter and die. If they are able to keep the retention of their player numbers, they'll have the ability to actually keep money and make money. And from there, they'll figure out how they want to do things and if they can do things and whether or not those things matter. But at this current point in time, to my opinion, in my best opinion, as a content creator, it is my opinion that those individuals will not be able to actually communicate what best they care about, other than the fact that they're going to have to accept that the thing that they care most about either has to be the culture of the video game or the fact that they're playing with other people. Because it's just not a good experience as a community game. It's not something that I think I should play on community gaming night. The only time I could be willing to play it is if there are 2 other people that are committed to actually grinding through the experience. Because it's the kind of game that has the kind of pick up and the put down that's going to make you feel like, damn, I don't want to keep going in this round. I feel like I have to take a break to reset my mind so I don't tilt into the atmosphere. The kind of video game that you play and then you immediately play a party game that's like fucking Kirby or some fucking shit. Something that has the potential of being fun and doesn't involve a person having hard feelings after it. That's what you have to do. With that being said, band for band content will continue. Single player Carl will continue to grow and change and shift and drive. If you enjoy the content that I produce and that I make, please feel free to give a humble donation to any of the places where Carl and card-related accessories can be sold. Which includes, but is not limited to, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, my PayPal directly, Subscribestar, or chat donos, as well as membership donos on my channel. Because a Carl is a terrible thing to waste. And I certainly don't want any of you wasting your money or your brain cells on Marathon. I care about your minds so that I can fill it with all of my dog shit. But I care about your minds and I care about your wallets. It's not worth the $40, okay? And adding on the fact that it's not just $40, it's $40 plus the battle passes that they're trying to encourage you to buy. It's not worth the time, it's not worth the investment, it's not worth the skins, it's not worth the sleepless nights and the sleepless hours trying to grind to prove to yourself that you can do it. If you really gotta do it because you gotta scratch that itch, then more power to you. Be blessed, beloved. But if you're just an individual who's like, I trust Carl's opinion because I don't trust my own mind, I am telling you, don't you buy it. Don't you buy it. Don't you buy it. So, love y'all like a play cousin. I am Outie from this broadcast 5000. Change on. And I'm gonna see y'all niggas in 5 seconds as I kick up the other side of the VOD.